Welcome to Crypto OGs. Welcome to Crypto OGs. We are here today in Dubai in the Propchain studio with our good friend Robin. Robin, how are you today?
Doing well. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us to your podcast room. It's amazing.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.
So, Robin, you are a very young, successful entrepreneur. With Propchain, you have different business as well. But let's tell everybody who is Robin.
Who is Robin? It's a very good question. I think that if I would need to describe myself, I'm an entrepreneur that is active in actually the traditional finance space, and at the same time also very active in the blockchain space, decentralized finance space. And I'm a person that likes to explore new opportunities and really likes to think out of the box, come with innovative ideas, and then find the traction for those ideas from a resources perspective. So I'm a very enthusiastic guy when it comes to tech and modernizing traditional industries, what I've obviously from my traditional finance background. So yeah, that will describe me well.
Amazing. You're very young. You're only 25, right?
26. I turn 27 next week.
Okay. Happy birthday. When is your birthday?
4th of December.
So remember, we might launch this the 4th of December so everybody can say congratulations to you.
We need to.
So before we dive into crypto, real world assets and prop chain, let's talk about your life before crypto. So you said you were in finance and stuff, but how was your life before crypto? You used to have a normal job, or how was it?
Yeah, actually, at a very young age, I started in the traditional finance space. I was 15, end of my 15th year, when I started to play around with contracts for difference in the oil space.
Wow, okay.
So that was actually something that I explored just as an interest that I had. I come from a background where my family is they're also entrepreneurs. They have always been active in the recycling space of plastics and metals. So the commodity markets were naturally something that we were involved with. And as a young kid, I was always working with my hands to get my hands dirty, whilst the guys in the office were making the big money, basically, with trading the commodities online. And that's actually how I got interested in the space. So from a young age, I started to experiment with that. Like 2 years later, it became actually quite serious. I had a strategy on oil that was doing successful. And basically, that's also how my career started. I got invited by a couple guys from London. Back then, I was in the Netherlands, but these guys were there. They were also young still. They were, I think, like between 5 to 10 years older than me. And they were actually involved in the setup of their own shop. So they were opening their own asset management firm. And they were looking for profitable traders. So this is how my career basically started. I went there. I went to London. We sat down for a few weeks. We tweaked the strategies, and the rest is basically history. I started with their firm, became a shareholder afterwards. And
how old were you back then?
Back then, I was when I became a shareholder, I was 18, I believe.
Okay.
So
you never had like a let's say normal job like McDonald's or Costa?
I had actually,
had?
But because I started working very young. I mean, when I was 12, 13, I was having a lot of like side jobs, I was working in a kitchen, I was doing the dishes, I had a lot of like the hustles, was trading designer clothes and these kind of things, like all of the small hustles that you need in order to build up like the base layer capital that you can actually invest, right? So for me, it has always been a process where I have pushed in a lot of hours to get my resources together in order to be able to do something. So I definitely had jobs, but luckily enough, I was able to also develop myself very quickly when I made my move to London, actually. So
something that I admire from people from Netherlands, that you are very passionate, but you're also very organized and determined. That's why you have the number one F1 driver in the world right now.
They say so.
So, okay, let's go back now to crypto. What was your first approach to crypto? Was a friend told you, hey, buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, when was this?
For me, it was actually, I think it was actually around the 2016.
Okay.
2016 period. And I actually got involved because of a friend of mine that I knew from when I was little, basically. They started a crypto mine, and they needed basically further funds and resources to scale up the operation. And this is actually how I went into business. I joined them. I was actually making good money back then already from my efforts in traditional finance. And I got very intrigued as a trader, obviously, by the volatility of that market, even before I realized what the tech could do, because I wasn't familiar with blockchain.
Yeah.
The guy showed me, hey, look at this.
200%.
This is like the volatility on this market. This is what we're doing with the mining. We are making like a boatload of cash. Would you like to join in? And I was like, yeah, let's try it. And that basically got me into crypto.
And what all your friends from the traditional finance told you when you tell you know going crypto right now,
Yeah.
or your family, or what did they think about it?
I mean, there was a quite heavy group, obviously, in the traditional finance space that was really denying like the potential of it, and I think that we have all seen it over the years how that developed. But we also had a lot of young guys, around us, also in traditional finance, that also noticed the volatility and the potential and the opportunity that presented itself. So I think from that perspective, there was really quite an environment around me that said like, hey, we need to try this and we need to build in this space. And that's also what we did over time. I mean, we have been building heavily also for existing crypto projects in the whole ICO hype that we have seen. To get certain concepts regulatory compliant and so forth, because that's kind of the experience that we carried, from traditional finance. So I had a quite good environment of people around me in that sense. Yeah.
So it's been already 8 years since that first approach for the crypto mining, and obviously the market changed twice already.
Yeah.
We have two bear markets so far, and also we have the last year full of news from the regulatory point of view, and also what happened with the exchange in America that changed the whole perspective and dynamics. And before we start to talk about on the podcast, we were talking about undoxing people. So we were talking about how now it's so important the people behind the projects are in front of the community. I think that's what make a project very strong right now.
Yeah.
So let's talk about fast forward, how the idea of Propchain came, and we're really happy to have you on the podcast because you are one of the advocates to show who is behind the projects.
No, 100%. Look, I think that is also mainly driven by my background, right? I come from a very heavily regulated space where basically the whole undoxing or the not being doxed basically does not exist, because everything that we do, we have to be fully known by the regulators, by our clients and so forth. So for me, that was already something that I had naturally imprinted, and it's also something that I have been advocating ever since. Main reason for that is that I believe that if you want to have a certain financial industry find its maturity, it is really important that a government and a regulator is actually with you. It needs to be on board. There's obviously, that also kind of differs me. I've always been a quite stranger, I would say, in the Web3 space, in the blockchain space, because I have been saying this for the last 6-7 years. And people were always having and carrying that narrative that crypto should be like that anonymity and not being KYC'd and not having any of the faces out there. And I think that over the last 6 years, we have also really witnessed that change, right? Where the space was previously fully of like, no, we shouldn't show our faces, we shouldn't do KYC. You now see that it actually moves in the direction of opening up, of getting regulatory frameworks in play. So for me, that is an actual really good sign, because I think that, as I said already, the only way how we see enough maturity enter this space for Web3 to be adopted by a Web2 crowd is by having like this maturity come to the market and having governments join into the program. Yet at the same time, a very strong advocate as well from like being able to utilize certain applications. So having, for example, zero knowledge protocols on the KYC end, so that you are not being banned from a certain jurisdiction or whatsoever to use, let's say, certain DeFi protocols. But I do think that on-off ramps and so forth that we see at present, they will need the KYC in order to really have that big mass adopt crypto and blockchain and everything that comes with it. So I'm always at the side of let's be out there, let's show our faces, let's show that we're serious. And that's also an initiative that we take with Propchain, obviously, where At the same time, we're working heavily together with regulators, with governments, to implement the technology and to implement the concepts and the benefits that blockchain technology brings. So for me, that is something that I will always advocate of.
Amazing.
Yep.
So you mentioned the KYC regulations to bring more people from Web 2 to Web 3. Something that most of the entrepreneurs or business owners agree is the real estate. Everybody is studying, I don't know, in banking or crypto or e-commerce. But at the end of the day, everybody wants to buy property. Like as much property you have, the more wealth that you have, and you feel safe.
Generally speaking, yes.
Yeah. So, and then that's something that you are doing with Propchain. You are merging both worlds, crypto and real world.
Partially, it's like one of our activities indeed. So with Propchain, we basically have created a tech infrastructure where we are really focused on RWA. So and then mainly to the real estate sector. Actually, that's our sole focus right now. And everything that comes with that, because I believe that the whole real estate fractionalization and tokenization is obviously one movement, but I believe the real market here is in further digitizing everything that comes with that space. So also the prop tech side of it, property management solutions, data solutions related to the real estate space, which is quite fraud sensitive in the real world, where blockchain technology comes in and actually verifies data from a more decentralized perspective. So with Propchain, we're really focused on building the tech, and then mainly focused on the data side of it. Also KYC, credit scores on chain, and everything that comes with the whole credit side of the market, which is obviously the biggest in real estate. We obviously have prime real estate assets, but the whole market around real estate is based on leverage, pretty much.
On the credit,
So that's also where we are involved in. And then we have like the verticals on the Propchain ecosystem that are actually carrying out the business. So one of those verticals is prop.com, which is actually a fractionalized investment platform where people can buy into fractions of real estate assets on the blockchain and put them in their digital asset portfolio. Further down the line, they will also be able to deploy those assets, for example, in our DeFi infrastructure, where they can then take credit against their tokenized assets. They can, for example, also provide loans which are collateralized by tokenized income rights, so the rental payments that we collect from properties. So there's a whole lot happening on that particular end as well. But the base layer of our concept used to be you should be able to buy a fraction of a real estate asset globally directly from your wallet and build and preserve your wealth by real estate, which is obviously known today as one of the most trusted and one of the most largest asset classes to build and protect wealth.
In the story. I find real estate fascinating because each country has different regulation. Also, you mentioned about the credit score in America is totally different. Europe is totally different over here. So when you came to Dubai with the idea, because they are building the biggest city in the world. I think it was 65% of the cranes are here.
It should
something like that.
That could be well possible, at this point.
And then, so Dubai is the place to help people to be, and I see so many people obviously buying real estate here, and they just got the sold out the palm, the new palm in like 2 hours. It's crazy. So how people can get real estate in Dubai if everything gets sold so fast?
This is like something there where a lot of people are dealing with, obviously. So I think that here it comes back to the network that we have. From the traditional finance activities that I have, I'm also heavily involved in real estate. So we build real estate ourselves here. We trade a lot of real estate. So our contacts in terms of getting supply are, I think, a lot better than the majority of the people that are running around here. So we are also able to offer like the more prime opportunities. So I think that it's always the difference. Furthermore, it's also obviously for a lot of people inaccessible to get here. They're not living here. They're not looking to relocate, for example, but also simply not having a clue on what to buy. And that's where we think with them and actually make sure that the assets that we select are also the assets that have the potential to grow, to generate cash flow, So we are also preparing that whole operation for our users,
For
which
users.
which is I think an added benefit.
And if there's nobody like, so you have properties here, I think so also
Yeah.
in Tulum.
Also in Tulum,
Yeah, Tulum is beautiful. I've never been,
Yep.
but everybody says amazing.
It's really nice. It's really nice.
And if you, for somebody that's interested in PropChain, what are the steps? Is it only for retail or for business to business?
It's retail, but also business to business is something that we are working on right now. So we have an introducer program and everything that comes with the general B2B relations. We also offer white labels, by the way.
Okay.
So our tech is also built in a way where people can just take our technology and then brand it in their own brand and have basically a whole primary token factory,
Yeah.
cap table management, rental distribution system, everything that comes with it. But at the same time, the steps are quite straightforward. People download the app, they make an
Okay.
account, they deposit money, and basically within 5 minutes you could be a fractionalized
Fractional
property.
property.
Yeah. So we're actually looking to launch it publicly now in the next few weeks.
Nice.
We just had
But the 4th of December?
maybe I think a little bit later, but we just got the approval from the App Store, so this was a
Amazing.
really nice.
Wow.
This is a really nice milestone where we have been working towards. We obviously have our MVP running for the last 6 months with a smaller group of investors, like
Okay.
200 investors from the top of my head.
Nice.
Where we have been able to distribute over 6 months of rental income towards, and now we're actually exiting the first property,
Wow.
where they will also feel like how the asset management strategy to unlock the additional value in a property, which we have seen now, is going to be materialized basically and flow back into their wallets.
So that's
So
a
full life cycle.
that's a good blueprint for the next
It's
project.
a really good blueprint, yeah. And the timing couldn't be better now with the public launch coming
Yeah.
in. So we're really happy with that.
Okay.
We're really happy.
Obviously, December is a month that the market in crypto goes a
Yep.
little bit slow. Everybody
Yep.
wants to relax.
Yep.
But obviously, I believe, by the way, guys, do your own research, no financial advice. But I believe next year we're going to have a better year than this in terms of
Yeah.
liquidity, people coming to the space. We have the ETF, we have the halving.
Yep.
But now, let's talk about the real estate economy. Like how
Yeah.
is global? Is it good? Is bad? We're in a transition. How that will merge with crypto next year?
I think that what we see now is that, and that's also one of the core reasons that we have focused on this area, is that I believe the secondary market here is still really well priced. I think we're very cheap if you compare
Really?
the
Wow.
square foot prices in Dubai
Wow.
to any other location in the world that is prime, like
London.
London, New York, Marbella, you
Paris.
name it, Paris. I mean, we're looking at maybe 1/4 of the price in many of the cases. So I think that from that perspective, Dubai has still a lot of space to grow. I think from a fair market pricing perspective, we're also the furthest away from like the bubble index
Okay.
side. That's also why I think that next to these factors, Dubai is a really good choice now to invest. At the same time, I also believe that the space here has a certain form of popularity because the government is succeeding
Proactive, yeah.
in what they are doing. So this is also a driver for us to be really focused on the market here. Furthermore, another opportunity that we see and that we also exploit already in our real estate businesses is we see the opportunity for redevelopment and value addition to existing real estate rather than building from the ground up. Because you have the areas here that are in a very good state. I mean, you have the hype around these areas. You have the marina. You have Business Bay, where we see that a lot of buildings are turning old and where the opportunity lays to rebuild and add value, where we can have in the users on the app, the investors participating. So we see for the long run an opportunity here. Yet I do believe that with the operation that we run globally, we will further down the line turn again into the narrative of giving people an opportunity to invest on a global scale. But for now, and with the launch period, we have really specifically chosen to focus on where we are and where we are good at, because we have our track record here as well in real estate.
Amazing. So. Okay, and so the announcements or crypto roadmaps are difficult to predict because everything changed. But you have What's happening the next 3 months? You mentioned next month is going to be in the Apple
Yeah.
Store.
Yeah,
The
for
app.
the prop.com
Prop.com.
vertical that will be in the app.
Okay.
We have an exchange listing strategy for Propchain for the
Okay.
native utility token that has kicked off
It's
now.
centralized exchange.
Centralized exchanges. So we start actually on the 30th of November with MaxC, and then the follow-ups I cannot disclose yet, but we're moving into the tier 1 categories now, which is good.
Yeah.
Create a bigger community. I think that from now we see the market turn generally into a sentiment where I believe it makes sense again to invest in creating more exposure, creating more liquidity. So that's on the roadmap. On the tech side, we have the infrastructure where we are running our testnet basically on the Propchain side. That's happening in the first months of 2024. We have the first token utilities being integrated, obviously outside of the D app that we already have live. We have LP staking coming in.
Okay.
We have several payment integrations and regions. We have Q1 where we will receive our full DFSA license here from the Dubai regulator. Wow. So there's so much on the roadmap where we are really close to as well, and where we're kind of dependent now on the external parties to drag it over the line. So I think we're perfectly on schedule. And if you look at the roadmap today, I think that everything you see on there is actually either achieved or will be achieved very shortly for where it has been disclosed to. So, yeah, we're excited to see where it goes.
And how? Okay, so we will probably leave down below the links to Propchain, but how we can connect with Propchain? What is the main handle on Twitter?
On Twitter, you can actually go to Propchain Global.
Okay, nice.
So there is where you can follow us, and you will see pretty much everything from the ecosystem as well as from the verticals, because we will be sharing all of the product verticals and the progress on our main Propchain outlet as well.
Amazing. And something that get people excited is following leaders. Like you've been, you basically built this from scratch yourself, very young. How we can contact you?
You can find me on Twitter as well. Twitter, LinkedIn. You can find me on the Propchain Masters. So this is my handle on Twitter.
It's not Justin Timberlake.
They don't say it. No, but you can follow me there. I'm actually now in the position as well that I have a lot to talk about. Yeah. So for me, the upcoming year is going to be really filled with disclosing my vision, disclosing the updates of the product and how I see the space develop. For me, it's really the time, I think, to claim where we should be in terms of the RWA narrative. And the partnerships that we're looking to build there. So keep posted or stay posted by following me there.
Amazing. I have two more questions. The first one is, we were looking, one of your team members wearing a suit. So what is the story behind the suits and the tailor? How we can get one for Crypto Years?
Yeah, no, actually we have a clothing brand as well. Under our main group, we basically focus a portion of it on appearance and apparel. So you can get custom-made suits with us. You can take the general ready-to-wear stuff. So
it's nice.
We have a bit.
Okay, you mixed up like comfy and also the suits.
The casual stuff.
Amazing.
Being fit and sharp.
Yeah, that's good, always. And if somebody, let's say Robin, when he was 15 years old, let's say there's a little Robin out there as well, in Netherlands or any country, and they want to dive into crypto. What would be the advice for somebody that's young or somebody that is, different age, but they just want to jump into crypto? What would be your number one advice?
I think it's always good to study the market. I believe that too many people these days are jumping on hypes without doing proper research. Yeah. And I think that we all made those mistakes and we all had our lucky moments and made a lot of money, but the unlucky ones may have waited more heavy in the beginning stages of our journey in crypto. So I think it's really good to research what is this market all about? What is the narrative that you would like to focus on? I think it's good to be always in the position that you find out what narratives are leading. I think right now RWA is definitely something we see. AI, gaming is something that we see a lot more as well. So really focus on where the volume is. Where does the communities go? because that's where you generally can make the money and the returns.
So basically, follow the money in a smart way because everything is on chain. So just
Simple.
just find it.
The on-chain analysis can be done, and you
There
can
you
find
go.
out quite quickly where the value is locked. So I would always go for these industries, and then obviously see the newcomers. So what is upcoming, and how can you be part of it? I think that's
Okay.
also an important one. Where I see Web3 obviously take a whole lot of traction right now. So yeah, that would be my advice.
Very good advice. Robin,
Perfect.
thank you so much for the
Thank you.
invitation again.
It was really nice
I
talking to you.
I hope to see you very soon in our episode. And
Definitely.
and remember, guys, Propchain, go and follow Robin. And I'll
Thank
see
you.
you in the next episode. Take care, guys.
Perfect.
Bye-bye.